We never discuss Mr. Vidi's health outside the family. You know better than that.
Like when you go bowling and you know you're in somebody else's shoes?
That's the one.
The worst one, well, actually, was the best one. When you say it's the worst one, it was the most difficult one. Years ago, we were shooting Throw Mama from the Train.
Billy Crystal's enduring reputation as one of America's most beloved comedians owes much to a unique blend of personal charm, rapid-fire wit, and heartfelt storytelling. These qualities did not emerge in isolation. Instead, they were shaped by a set of comedic figures who helped define his sensibility during his formative years. From an early age, Crystal was exposed to the golden era of television, drawing heavily from the anarchic brilliance of the comedic actors during this period. Speaking candidly about his influences, Crystal once remarked, "I had a master's degree in comedy just by growing up when I did. These giants weren't just on my television, they were my teachers." His development, therefore, cannot be disentangled from the achievements of the comedians he idolized. Yet the very breadth of these influences eventually posed a conflict. With so many towering examples to emulate, which path should he carve for himself?
Of course, the wagon master was a burly devil, big shoulders, tiny waist, wrapped in elephant skin, and he's... and all the women kind of...
Jonathan Winters, the mercurial master of improvisation, represented an entirely new dimension of comic performance to a young Billy Crystal. Known for his ability to slip into dozens of characters with scarcely a breath, Winters was a tornado of energy and invention. Crystal has often cited him as a revelation. Jonathan could just invent an entire universe with a look, a gesture, or a muttered word. Watching him made me realize that comedy wasn't just jokes, it was imagination unleashed. Crystal's early routines, particularly those seen during his time on Saturday Night Live.
You know something, Frank? I don't like being a night watchman. There's nobody here.
Bore the unmistakable traces of Winters' influence, a reliance on character work, rapid transformations, and an undercurrent of surrealism. In interviews, Crystal described Winters' performances as visits to other planets, places where logic surrendered to comic instinct. However, while Winters' style provided Crystal with permission to explore the outer edges of comedy, it also presented a dilemma. Winters' madness was almost impossible to replicate without losing oneself. How could Crystal channel this wild spirit without descending into mere mimicry? The answer came in the form of Sid Caesar. Best known for his seminal television program Your Show of Shows,
I don't know, Doris. Why did you take me here? What is this? I don't know what you took me here for.
Oh, Charles, don't be so stubborn. You're going to love this restaurant.
What are you going to love? I'm hungry. I want to eat a good dinner.
Caesar brought order to the chaos of comedy, crafting elaborate sketches with impeccable timing and a profound sense of character. Crystal later observed, "Sid showed me that discipline could make the crazy even crazier. The more structured you are, the more freedom you have inside the scene." Caesar's performances married the physicality of silent film comedians with the verbal dexterity of modern sitcoms. Crystal would absorb this lesson deeply, using it throughout his film career, from When Harry Met Sally to City Slickers, where emotional truth anchors comic invention.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice ceremony.
Beautiful.
Yet, for all Caesar's brilliance, his career was marred by personal demons. His battles with alcoholism and the eventual decline of his television career cast a long shadow. Crystal admired the craft, but feared the consequences. Was a life in comedy inevitably tied to personal turmoil? To confront this fear, Crystal looked towards Mel Brooks. If Sid Caesar taught him structure, Brooks demonstrated how to attack a joke with utter fearlessness. In Crystal's words, "Mel showed me that you can be as outrageous as you want, as long as you're smart about it." Brooks's films, from Blazing Saddles to Young Frankenstein,
Laws in gain! Copper walk. It's all right.
Thank you.
rewrote the rules of cinematic comedy by skewering social norms and poking holes in pomposity. Crystal shared a personal rapport with Brooks, often appearing alongside him in tributes and interviews. During a Peabody Award ceremony in 2024, Crystal said of Brooks, "You never flinched, never backed down. You said the outrageous things we were too scared to say, and made it safe to laugh." But while Brooks's daring inspired Crystal, it raised another tension. Outrageousness could quickly curdle into offense or alienation. How could Crystal embrace boldness without losing the universal appeal that became his trademark? The solution to this lay in the example of Carl Reiner. Reiner, an architect of both television and film comedy, was a figure of warmth, empathy, and precision. His collaborations with Mel Brooks, particularly the 2,000-year-old man routines, balanced absurdity with humanity.
This gentleman here is one of the phenomena of the world. He looks no older than Mr. Sean, and yet he is 2,000 years old. Is that true, sir?
Yes, you want to see my driver's license?
No. Sir, is it true that you are 2,000 years old?
Oh, boy. Yes.
Crystal acknowledged Reiner's influence during a tribute at the 2020 TCM Classic Film Festival, saying, "Carl reminded us that the best comedy is rooted in who we are. If people recognize themselves, they laugh longer and harder." Crystal's own most celebrated performances, whether delivering a eulogy in City Slickers,
I still have the program. All right, what was the worst day you ever had? Worst day?
or offering gentle repartee as the Oscar host, are infused with this ethos.
The glasses, man. You're indoors. The dark glasses. You're indoors. You know why you need it? You're such a big star, your own luster gets in your eyes. That's how big you are, man.
His jokes rarely sneered. Instead, they invited the audience into a shared emotional experience. Nonetheless, the very gentleness that Crystal admired in Reiner sometimes risked rendering a comic voice too mild, too safe. In a world increasingly drawn to sharper edges and louder declarations, would a subtler approach still resonate? The final piece of Billy Crystal's comic DNA was provided by Jack Rollins, a name less familiar to the public but vitally important to many of the greatest comedians of the 20th century. Rollins, who managed the careers of Woody Allen and David Letterman among others, took on Crystal at a crucial early juncture. Crystal remembered, "Jack understood what I was trying to do before I even did. He didn't push me to be anyone else, he pushed me to be myself, just better." Rollins' advice often centered on authenticity and persistence. Rather than chasing trends, Crystal learned to trust his voice and to believe in the slow accumulation of audience goodwill over the flash-in-the-pan success of edgier acts. However, the guidance Rollins offered sometimes clashed with the industry's shifting tastes. Television executives increasingly sought brashness and controversy, not gentle humanism. Crystal was faced with a choice: chase relevance by adapting to harsher winds, or hold firm to the values instilled by his heroes. Ultimately, Billy Crystal resolved these tensions not by choosing between his influences, but by weaving them into a coherent personal style. He embraced the character-driven invention of Jonathan Winters, the structure of Sid Caesar, the daring of Mel Brooks, the humanity of Carl Reiner, and the authenticity encouraged by Jack Rollins. His career is a living testament to their lessons, synthesized into a voice that could both entertain a packed auditorium and bring poignancy to a single line delivered on film.
And I had my first midlife crisis car.
What was it?
It was a little black Porsche convertible.
Okay. All right.
Cliché.
Reflecting on his journey during his one-man show 700 Sundays, Crystal summed it up succinctly. "I'm a little bit of all of them, and a whole lot of me." This ability to integrate disparate influences without losing his own voice allowed him to navigate an evolving entertainment landscape while maintaining deep audience affection. Yet, as Crystal approached new projects and commemorations in the 2020s, another challenge loomed. Comedy itself was undergoing seismic shifts, with younger audiences demanding different forms, tones, and heroes. Would Billy Crystal's brand of storytelling comedy still find a home in a rapidly changing world? So far, the answer appears to be a resounding yes. Though styles evolve, the core of what Crystal's comedic heroes taught him, imagination, discipline, audacity, empathy, and authenticity, remains enduring. When Crystal received the Critics' Choice Lifetime Achievement Award in 2022, he spoke not of endings, but of continuity.
I want to thank you for this wonderful award to all the critics. This may be the first time we actually agree on something.
Comedy is a river. You just jump in wherever you find the current. Billy Crystal's reverence for the legends who shaped him continues to influence the way he mentors younger performers today. Whether guest lecturing at film schools or appearing in interviews, he emphasizes the importance of studying the greats while forging an individual path. Know who you are, he advises, but also know whose shoulders you're standing on. In that advice lies the final resolution to the conflicts he once faced. By understanding the influence of others and remaining steadfastly true to his own instincts, Billy Crystal ensured not only his place in comedic history, but also the ongoing vitality of the traditions he inherited.